Even though the CC9 is a cheaper phone than the Mi 9, Xiaomi have stuck to their guns in terms of design, giving it a glass back, and if you didn't know which one was which, you'd be hard pressed to choose which was the more expensive phone. There are just a couple of things that give it away. For example, the screen on the CC9 just comes away from the body a bit more. It's not a bad design, but that is something that cheaper phones often have. And the other main difference is in the thickness of the phones. Because the CC9 has a much larger battery than the Mi 9, it is thicker. The camera bump also sticks out a little bit less than the Mi 9's. The CC9 isn't a thick phone at all, and I for one will take a little bit of thickness to have that much larger battery. They both have fingerprint sensors. You expect that on the more expensive Mi 9, but it's becoming more and more common on these cheaper phones. It's very difficult to tell the difference between the two. They both work really well. The Mi 9 has fast charging and wireless charging. That's really great. The CC9 doesn't have wireless charging, and its fast charging is a little bit slower than the Mi 9's, but it does have a much bigger battery, so you're going to get much better battery life out of the CC9. They both also have triple camera systems. The CC9's main feature is that this is a camera phone. The design on the back of them is again very similar. But Xiaomi say that the CC9 has a much improved front sensor. It's on the top there, and it certainly looks bigger than that on the Mi 9. You also get this cool little animation when you switch to the selfie camera. So let's have a look at some images. I can definitely see some differences in the way they make me look. My skin tone is completely different on the CC9 to what it is on the Mi 9. They have pretty much the same beauty modes. You can go into beauty, you can remodel and make up on both of the phones. Not something that I'd be using, but there's obviously loads of filters on both of them as well. If I quickly take a photo on both of them, there's definite differences in the colors between them. So the CC9, I think, makes me look a little bit brighter overall, whereas the Mi 9 just makes me look a little bit more grayed out. So these are selfies with full studio lighting, and now I'm going to switch one of the lights off to see how the lighting changes, and this is with no studio lighting. It's really dark, and there are some differences between the two. This was taken in a black room. The only light was from the actual phone screens. This was taken with good lighting, and now we're going to test the night mode on both of them. I think they're both pretty good. Being from the same manufacturer, the color science on both of these is very similar from those back cameras. I give this one to the Mi 9 though. I think the dynamic range is just a little bit better on the Mi 9 compared to the CC9. When it comes to video though, I couldn't really tell too much difference between them. This is a stabilization test, and they both look pretty decent. If you just look in the very far background, because that's very bright, that would be an area where you'd lose some detail with the cheaper sensors, but they both look really similar. Let's try that test again with a different shot. Because there are really dark parts of the image and really light parts of the image, we can test dynamic range on video. There are some slight differences with how things are exposed, and maybe the colors are a tiny bit different between the two, but overall they give a very similar look from that main camera at the back. In this image, I think that maybe the Mi 9 keeps a tiny bit more detail in those trees at the bottom. The CC9 makes them look a little bit darker, and so the details are crushed a little bit, whereas the Mi 9 seems to keep a lot more detail in those trees and the leaves. Somewhere where there's going to be a bit of a bigger difference is in gaming and the power of these two phones. The Xiaomi Mi 9 has the latest Snapdragon 855, whereas the CC9 is using the Snapdragon 710. So both phones share basically the same design. They both have very good screens and very good cameras as well. They just differ with the processor, the Mi 9 having a more powerful processor, and the battery, the CC9 having a much bigger battery and a less powerful processor means that you're going to get a massive amount of battery life out of that phone, way more than the Mi 9. So if you're not a gamer and you focus on photo and video and selfies, the CC9 may be for you.